I'm Valerie Martins. I'm here today with Sarah McPike. Sarah has been brought down by the Grassland Naturalist to do a special presentation. Once a month we have a special presenter who comes to speak on environmental issues, conservation, and the natural world. And of course, Sarah used to work here, and she became quite a very well-liked, and we really enjoy having you back again. And you did such a wonderful presentation last night, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. Now, you are actually doing a master's degree, and you're working on wasps. Mm-hmm. Now, wasps, the word wasp sometimes scares people. It does. Is there something that you could tell us that will maybe change people's minds on what they're feeling about wasps are?
Yeah. So usually when people hear the word wasp, they immediately think of yellowjackets. And you're right, they have a very negative idea of what wasps are and what they do. So firstly, yellowjacket wasps are actually very beneficial to the environment. And as scavengers that go around and eat other dead insects and dead animals, they're a great cleanup crew in nature. And of course, they don't want to sting people. They just do that to defend their nests. But so I would argue that yellowjackets are beneficial insects. But also, wasps are extremely diverse, and there's lots of different kinds. So yellowjackets are the ones that people see the most. They're quite large, they're colorful, but the vast majority of wasps, so insects in the insect order Hymenoptera, the vast majority are tiny little wasps that are parasitoids. Uh-huh. So a parasitoid is an insect that lays its egg in a host, which is usually another insect, sometimes a spider, and the larva of that insect grows inside the host and eventually kills it.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now, you mentioned diversity. Well, we know about the yellowjackets for sure, but now, what other kinds or what sizes are we talking about here?
So yeah, as I mentioned, yellowjackets are the wasps we usually see. There are parasitoid wasps that can be quite large, but people are usually surprised to hear that there are thousands of parasitoids in Canada that are a millimeter or less in length. So these are tiny, tiny wasps. So in the yellowjackets, in most of the wasps, the egg-laying tube is modified to be a stinger, which is one of the reasons people don't like yellowjackets. Mm-hmm. But in most wasps, females have an ovipositor. So that elongated thing at the back of their abdomen is actually a tube for laying eggs. So all these tiny wasps are ovipositing or laying their eggs in a host. And because that eventually kills that insect, we can try and use parasitoid wasps as biological controls.
Now that's very interesting. Mm-hmm. Now that's what you're doing your thesis on, right? On parasitic wasps?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little more about that?
Sure. So working with the University of Alberta in the Edmonton lab where I'm doing my master's, as well as with the City of Edmonton Pest Management Lab, we are working on helping to control a horticultural tree pest. So it's the ash leaf cone roller caterpillar that does aesthetic damage to the ash trees in Edmonton. And there is a native parasitoid wasp that is in the family Burconidae that has started to use that caterpillar as its host. So the City of Edmonton and lots of centers have an integrated pest management approach. So we try to use principles that we learn from nature to try and support natural pest controls like wasps that can help control things like the ash leaf cone roller. So my project is looking at a few different aspects of this, but one of them is using natural organic chemical scents that the wasp can detect to try and attract it to the ash trees to parasitize the caterpillars.
Wow. Now, are you having much success with this? And how long have you been doing this?
So I'm in my last year of my project, mm-hmm. and we've learned a lot of things about where the wasp is in Edmonton and how successful it is. But we are encountering that it is difficult to try and manipulate insects in nature, especially in the city, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of different plants that are planted both by the city and by the citizens, and there are roads and industry, and so when you're trying to attract the insects to a smell, there's a lot of competing chemicals out there that you have to work with. So there are definitely challenges, but it's great to see that this parasitoid is making a difference in the numbers of ash leaf cone roller in Edmonton.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty special. By using these parasitoid wasps, you're actually helping the environment so you don't have to use pesticides and other forms of controls. So I guess there's probably other ideas, other insects that you could do the same thing with.
Yeah, parasitoids have been successfully used in agricultural settings and especially in greenhouses where you can control the conditions. You can use parasitoid wasps to help control pests. And then of course you don't have to use sprays because the pest doesn't get to be in high numbers. So it has been really interesting learning about the diversity of wasps and how they can be used as biological controls. And I just hope that people will start thinking about wasps in more positive terms and take a look. I encourage people to take a look at flowers where these wasps will be feeding as adults and learn a bit more about parasitoids because they are very interesting. Lots of these wasps are very beautiful and they're very helpful to in the natural system. So,
wow, you've really given us lots to think about today. And I really like the idea of having a positive spin on our wasps. And so I want to thank you for coming. We really appreciate your speaking last night and now today to talk with us. And I'm hoping that you might come back for something else.
Oh, it was great. It was great to be back. Good to see the good work continuing at the interpretive program and with the Grasslands Naturalists. And I do hope to come back. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. So if you have any more interest in wasps, you can contact us down at the Nature Center. And maybe I can get you in contact with Sarah if there's something of importance. So thank you again for watching.